That's why we're here. It's the how. It's always the how that people, uh, put that big question mark here. How do I help myself? That's right. Meditation is only one part of it, but the other part is what's most important, which is trying to break this all into pieces so that you know you understand what's happening, what's unfolding in your life, drawing boundaries, um, trying to ensure your own peace, because the old ways at home obviously didn't work out. Whatever it is that was going on between you and her, you, her, and him, the triangle, it didn't work out. So now we have to look at a new way of doing things, starting with each individual, working on each individual, and look at the blueprint of their life, components in their life.
To be honest with you, I never thought there was a problem until it all just came crashing down on me. To be honest with you, I
Sure.
thought he always had a pretty good life.
And we identified last time that it was good until the high school thing, right? The fact that he was bullied as a kid,
Which I never knew.
right? Because parents were not trained to listen.
No, we listened to him. We
Remember
did
why I
listen.
did MMA? Remember why I wanted to do MMA?
Something you want, just you brought it up, and we've always tried to push you to do whatever you wanted to do, and we supported you.
Because if we had deep listening skills, we would have put two and two together of what was going on and why I wanted to do it at that time.
You didn't speak real clearly then. You should have just came out and told us what was going on.
If I recollect correctly, I believe I did.
I don't think so. I would have done something
So,
about it. As a
and,
parent,
okay,
I would have
now-
stepped in.
Okay, now backtracking as far as good life, it really all started in Colorado. I just stayed quiet because I was young. It really all started in Colorado when everything went to shit. Excuse my language. If we really want to backtrack. Not because of you. Mainly started my resentment towards mom in Colorado. And lots of PTSD. Lots of PTSD.
The fact that she was saying stuff about him. What do you mean
No,
by
in Colorado?
what is PTSD? What happened there? Because saying PTSD can mean a variety of things. That is a broad umbrella.
Watching both of my parents get brutalized, arrested at the same time by the police, getting transferred hours away from my home, not being allowed to go into my home to get any of my own belongings, to a foster home that did it not for the care of children, but for the care of me, my, and I, themselves, the money, the benefits, treated us like third world humans. The day that I did, the last day that I was there, they did end up transferring me back to school, I remember vividly the clothes that I was wearing, vividly how I felt. I was having to compose myself the whole entire day so I did not start bawling crying.
I remember that.
Not only that, there before that, I remember I would walk downstairs, you and mom would get in fights at bars because we would go to bars probably 5 days out of 7 days a week. Y'all would always fight because she would always get drunk. Because she was really bad back then. And she's going back down the same path now. You would say, fuck this, I'm out, I'm done. I'm going to fuck some chicks, this, that, or the other. I remember you venting to me. That's when you started venting to me, was in Colorado, because you felt like your life was going downhill because you broke your back, couldn't get a job in New York. That's why we left New York. New York, yeah, my life was pretty good. That was all about 4 and 3/4 years of my 21, almost 22 years of life. Proceeding forward, then having to go to federal buildings with you guys to go and do blow tests, and then going to bars after. Knowing about everything that I shouldn't have known about as a young child. Everything that was going on, everything financially, everything, all of the problems. You struggled getting a couple of jobs, I believe, at one point in Colorado at one time.
No. I had the same job there the entire time we were there. I went to school.
Okay, yeah, that's right. With Hank, right?
Hank Hirsch.
The amount of stress, anxiety, and everything that was in the household due to the
No.
arrest and indictments.
You can step out first. Ya mire.
Soaked into me. And then having to pack up shop and leave, flee. And I loved Colorado.
I did too.
That pissed me
I
off
tried
quite a
talking
bit.
your mother into just doing what she had to do. She wasn't accepting that.
You don't say. And we don't see any trends here. Frequencies, recencies. She wants to do all this bad shit, but she doesn't want to face the music. Ever. That's why I don't listen or have any respect for her when she tries to discipline me. Because she's a joke. In my eyes. She's a laughingstock embarrassment of a human being. Remember the kid Connor? With the Yamaha that blamed us for cracking his gas tank? The blue Yamaha?
From Colorado?
No, from here.
I don't know, the gas tank, no.
He accused us, he dropped his bike off at the house. We were all going to go riding, me, him, you, and Alec. He had the blue piece of shit YZ125, and he blamed us because his gas tank was cracked.
Don't recall that.
It was a while ago. I remember how mad you were because he accused us of cracking his gas tank. It's also the same kid I had a problem with, which is why I got IC for 2 days in my junior year, right when I got back to school, which was in school. It's their version of ISS.
Okay.
Which was, I had some problems with him because this kid loved to fuck around. The type of kid that would like to joke around but continue the jokes too far because he thought no one was scared of him. He caught me at the wrong time after I just got done dealing with all that shit and still was in a very odd state. That's when I was living in Bel Air. I had taken one of her mom's cups, you know, a nice 32-ounce Yeti tumbler.
I remember.
Because I was surviving off of coffee and a bag of Cheerios each day because my stomach had shrunk so much I couldn't eat. I was trying to stretch my stomach back out. So that was my food for the day, was a bag of Cheerios and a 32-ounce Yeti of coffee. I grabbed it. She said, oh, man, you know, it's like my one really good cup. She's like, you already have your stuff in it, so use it. Just don't lose it. I have a lot of respect for anybody else's stuff that they let me use. He was in one of my classes. Stole the cup when I was turned around, going putting stuff in my backpack. Took the cup. I knew everybody in that class. It was not that big of a class. I knew everyone. I knew that nobody in that class would joke around like that or fuck around like that. And he also sat behind me and walked out past before I left and I was turned around. So I knew it was him. I called him. Look, kid, I know you stole my cup. Where's my cup? And
Sorry, Alex. This is her room. She's gonna grab some things real quick. She's a
Sorry
therapist.
about that.
yeah, no problem.
I like how you designed it.
Oh, thank you. It's not all done
You need me
yet.
to move?
Nope, I can't do it again.
You got your own meditation cushion over there and everything.
Yeah, and something.
I'm starting Vipassana back up soon. So
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Anyways, he took my cup. I told him, give me my cup back. Quit this game. I'm not here for it. I don't have the patience for it. Because I knew how this kid is already. And he didn't think anybody would ever try him or step on him. Which is why he did what he did. But here's the main point of the story. He loved to F around. But as soon as his dad, or as soon as smell of trouble, he'd become the biggest little baby in the world because he wanted to mess around, but he never wanted to face any consequences.
Is that the same kid that I went to his dad that one day?
Probably because he was blaming us for his tank.
No, he worked at UPS, is that?
I missed him.
Yeah,
Okay, I remember
Is
that
there-
kid now, I remember
yeah,
him.
yeah. You remember him? Little
I do
short.
remember.
On your
Yeah.
seat,
Buff.
is there something?
Thought he was the baddest dude on the planet.
Got it.
So that day, that was the main point of the story. But that day, I called him, met up with him. I said, "You can end this." Okay? I was like, "You either give me the cut back, or I'm gonna go search your shit for it, and I'm gonna find it." Two options. I had very little patience with any human at that time, especially him. Oh no, bro! I'm already in trouble in that class. I'm gonna get kicked out. That's not my problem. You can end this. Give me the cutback, or I'm gonna go search all of your personal belongings, and I will walk right into your class. I don't care what the teacher has to say. He's trying to stop me, and then he gets distracted with a couple girls. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to his class. He realized I was gone. I could hear it behind me, and he jumped up because he was short. Jumped up, tried to put me in a chokehold, and tried to slam me down. By the way, I had a big scab on my knee at the time, so obviously I'm not gonna let myself get slammed. I dropped my knee, and then we're grappling on the ground in the middle of a hallway as my leg is gushing blood. Teacher comes out because he hears our knees and stuff hitting the ground, and when he did that, I was cool. Because with him again, like I said, you never know if he's messing around or if it's serious. I didn't know if he was just messing around and sparring and trying to make funny, until he dropped his knee in my chest. When he did that, I was ready to snap his neck, and he's lucky that the French teacher walked out at that point. Because I was fine. He dropped his knee in my chest and almost knocked the wind out of me. And because I was already pissed off at him for his childish games, he's lucky that French teacher walked out.
I think that's when I approached his father. And again, you begged me not to do nothing.
Because when
supposed to
you
help you if I can't do
okay,
anything
so
for you.
let's reflect on why I don't want you to do anything. Because you realize every time that you get involved in a situation, you cannot control your emotions.
Let's go with his dad.
That's not what I just said. Every single situation you've been in where you try and help, you lose your cool every time.
I didn't lose
That's
my cool
why-
with him.
You notice every time that you say try to help me with something or butt into my personal affairs and want to offer help, why do you think I turn you down every single time? Because you make stuff messy.
I don't think I made that messy at all.
I'm not even talking about that specific situation anymore. I'm talking in general now.
I don't know how I make it messy.
Because you cannot control your emotions. You cannot control your anger. As soon as something, like, it takes me a long time to get to that snapping point. Like I just said, I kept my cool with him up until that whole entire point, until he dropped his knee in my chest. And then I said, okay, he's not kidding around. Because that hurt. It's on. You have no, my fuse could be this. Your fuse is this. As soon as somebody says one wrong thing, you lose it. Every situation I've ever seen you in, you lose your cool. You cannot control your emotions.
I don't think I'm like that anymore.
Well, that's a good thing anymore, but the damage has been done in the past. And now he's just recalling stories just because, in the beginning of the session, you said, well, I thought he had a good life all along. And he just gave you evidence and examples of how it wasn't. Then when I said, well, because parents are not trained to listen. And you said, no, we listen very well. Not quite. It takes FBI agents as parents to listen to this kid, because you can see that he can recall in great details, and he'll run circles around you guys all day. He runs circles around me. I have to be not just a lighthouse, but the lighthouse of other lighthouses to catch his mind jump and his behavior and his thoughts and stuff like that.
I've always talked to him every day. I try to talk to him. When I seen something was bothering him, I knew when something was bothering him.
But here we're not blaming you for anything.
I know, but I always knew when something bothered him. I always tried to get him to open up, but he just would never open up.
It's said and done. I mean, kids, it's so much chaos with working with kids that even if you yourself had a PhD in adolescent psychology, you would still not be able to fully figure them out, right? In the last session we had together, I said that we know how deep the ocean is, but we don't know how deep the mind can get. And the mind is even deeper when it comes to adolescent and kids. My professor, Dr. Andrew, worked with adolescents, and they threw her in so many places when she was a psychologist, a young, bright, intelligent psychologist walking in to make sense of their world, their uncontrollable world. And she had to just take her time and figure it out because she studied theory and now she's practicing, just like any doctor that go out in the field and clinical medicine. you know they train you, whatever they train you, residency, internship, but nothing prepares you for certain things that happen in the clinical room. So clinical parenting, same way. It's complete chaos. You can do the best that you can, but you have the more intelligent the kid is, the more they elude you, shut down, they play games. How are you supposed to know these games they're playing? Because they're just that clever.
It was clever because he just was like a light switch one day went on, and he's just flat out mean, man. Flat out mean.
We call that bipolar and schizophrenia because anyone under 25 is schizophrenic. That's in the adolescent book.
Well, that's what we thought. He was bipolar and he needed to be diagnosed.
All of them. That's all of them, including us when we were less than 25. You know what I mean? That's when we look back when we were 25.
Back then, bipolar wasn't a term back in.
Right. It was just manic, and it was the behavior was just whacked out, crazy, complete chaos. To take the clinical terminology out of it, we would describe it as complete chaos. Chaos in thoughts, chaos in actions. But that's what makes childhood fun. But you have to know how to pay attention and know how to make amends and repair. And somewhere down the line, I feel maybe you guys got exhausted. This is a kid that can exhaust anybody. This is a kid that exhausts me. Nonetheless, you guys.
Myself.
Exhaust himself. But the persistent and consistent parental supervision is what's needed. Of course.
He left. It didn't come back for well over a year. Almost probably 2 years.
You remember what I told you? The first time I left? When you kicked me out verbally and physically?
I didn't kick you. I never kicked you out of our house.
You can believe what you want to believe.
I told you, you don't like it here, leave, is what I told you. I never told you to get out of my house.
You said, get the fuck out of my house.
I never
get the fuck out of my house. You're not welcome here. Don't come back.
I never kicked you. Never
Quote
kicked you out of the house. I might have said, if you don't like it
and I
here,
looked at you dead in the eye. Again, deep listening skills. You're trying to talk over me. I looked you dead in the eye. And I said, if this is what you want, I'm not coming back. Which is why you don't like Steve's. Because that gave me an out. I had people to stay with. And I had a lot of money coming in every week that you knew about. Because I used to pay for a lot of stuff for us. Correct or incorrect?
Yeah, you did.
To try and have happiness between at least us. I talked Grandma into getting you the dirt bike that you still have. I bought you a lot of the gear that you had. I bought us the tent. I would pay for our admissions.
That tent we have right now, you didn't buy that.
I know because Alex's dad threw mine away. That's why we have that tent, because Grandma again bought that for us so that we
she
could
didn't buy
continue.
that tent.
As far as I remember, she did. She
didn't buy
included.
the
She
system.
threw in towards it.
She pitched in with it, but she didn't buy it.
Exactly. Okay, irrelevant. I looked at you dead in the eye and I said, if this is what you want, this is what you'll get. You know the saying, be careful what you wish for? And then because I was a juvenile and you guys lost control and you want to control, that's why everything happened. That's why because it was months after I left that you guys reported me as a runaway. And then Baker acted me, which I knew about because you knew I was coming into the house. You just didn't know how. And now I was taking just shit that was mine because I knew your guys' schedules, because I didn't want to see you or deal with you. And I was also reported as a runaway, being labeled as a fugitive by police for scare tactics, which worked in the end.
They didn't do shit for us, Sam.
Oh, yeah, they did.
No, they didn't.
Oh, yeah, they did.
No, they didn't.
You know how many PIs I had calling my phone all the time? It didn't work for you because they couldn't catch me.
That's not why.
It is why.
Didn't help your mother and I at all.
Well, if that's what you want to believe, but the amount of pressure I had from them and police, how many times I ran on foot, got picked up, evaded them, eluded them.
I disagree with you saying that we kicked you out. I've never kicked you out of that house.
Well, then until you can accept the fact of everything that you did and in fact did say, this will never work. Because I'm quoting you.
I'm sure I did say some cruel shit that day.
What do you feel, like guilty? And then that's why you don't want to accept it? Because I everything that I say is not a lie.
I didn't ever kick you out of the house. I refuse to admit to that because I never
Okay.
would kick you out of the house, especially at that
Okay, then
age.
this isn't going to work. You have the CBT, you can read the CBT.
I know you were shitty to us, and my patience wore thin,
Okay, so once again, deflecting and turning everything onto me.
and I spoke out of every. You were mean as hell to us, and you still are to this day.
But again, we don't want to backtrack
All right.
and trace why.
So this, let me jump in there as the referee for a second. Even if you committed murder, I don't really care. Even if you committed murder, I don't really care. In Buddhism, we don't really care. You get what I'm saying? I'm not there to judge anyone. I'm not there to judge any one of you. Okay, let me repeat that again. Even if you both committed murder, multiple murders, and buried bodies in the county, I wouldn't even care. My job is to move forward and help you see patterns that have been unhelpful. I noticed that you had probably some anxiety coming here, trying to figure out, are we going to meditate today or what's going to happen and what's not. I'm trying to strike the balance so that your dad doesn't feel like every time he comes here, he's getting attacked by you. The kid obviously shows that there's a lot of stuff on his shelf that he wants to dump down on because harboring resentments, harboring stories that was left untold, the many years of absence that took place. You strike me as a very intelligent father and still is a very intelligent man. That's a good thing because have you lost your wits or starting to have dementia or Alzheimer's? That's not good. And the fact that you want him back into your life. And at this point, I'm working with him. I'm working with him about his own stuff, his own issues and ego and stuff like that. I think it would be helpful to consider a lot of habits that happened back then to readjust them now. Deep listening skills is one of them. You see how the back and forth? Those who fight don't listen. Those who listen don't fight.
I hear some faults in what some of the things he said.
Sure.
Things that were only his
Sure.
faults.
And sometimes let him have it. Let him have it. Why? Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? You know what I mean? Just like women, right? Just like women. You know what my professor said? My professor said, when you get into an argument with her, let her have it. If you would shut up, she would run out of things to say. I thought that was
True.
the biggest wisdom ever,
It's very true.
right?
Took
So-
me a long time to learn that.
Yeah. But we're still learning it. Now, when it comes to this situation, you notice how I don't ask to go back so much in time because it really doesn't matter that much anymore. I really focus on the present moment. I look at the presenting symptoms of the present moment. I look at unhealthy, unhelpful habits in the present moment and work on those in order to repair relationships. And if he's making false accusations, whatever minor details in there, just let it have it. Even if he accused you of murder, let him have it. Because I'm not there to judge. You know what I mean? And I don't really care. No one really cares. You want the relationship back with your son. You have a short amount of time to live. All of us have a short amount of time to live. Because you never know if you're going to fall down the stairs. The same stairs you walk back up.
I don't know what tomorrow brings.
Correct. What's important is giving up. That's what's important. Giving up our old self, our old ways, our old days, and look at the big and grand picture, which is I want my son back. I want our relationship back. I want to smile more and frown less. More roses and less thorns. When you guys are sparring, verbal sparring, it's like two psychologists going at it or two lawyers going at it. Very sharp minds, but those sharp minds need to be directed towards something of goal and productivity and the grand picture, not sparring on a case. I mean, if you guys were attorneys defending murder trials and you want to know where the murder weapon is, the hands don't fit in the glove, OJ Simpson type crap, fine. But it's not. It's not. It doesn't matter anymore. Clearly, that's why the big picture is you adopted a really intelligent kid, a kid that the FBI could use to catch bad guys. That's how intelligent he is. You got parents that school didn't teach y'all, right? It should be law. Like some of these laws are being passed, Marcy's law or the Baker Act law or all these laws because somebody died. So that's why they pass laws. But yet so many families are broken up the way that it has been, the despair in families, and yet they haven't changed laws on requiring parents to get at least a bachelor's degree in parenting so that we can get rid of a lot of these things that happen unintentionally. Okay, whether it was intentional or unintentional, who do you blame? Our education system, and y'all tried y'all bet the best that y'all could in the midst of your own life and in the midst of your own struggles, financial struggles, and in the midst of your own coping skills, trying to tame this kid, tame this little god running around in your house. Little gods. Kids are like little gods. They have a lot of power and magical powers. Like they appear and then disappear. We call that running away. Okay? They come up with all sorts of excuses and magical stories in their head. Do they tell lies? Sure. Do they construct lies? Sure. Defense mechanisms? Sure. All of these components in the brain and in the mind, it is what it is and it can't be what it ain't. But they don't know that, Everybody wants to win. It's a rare thing that all sides win. Somebody has to give in. And sometimes the bigger adult has to just let them have it. Now, especially at 55, 60 years old. It's like, what's the point anymore of protecting our ego? What's the point anymore of protecting our reputation? I'm a 35-year-old monk, and I've been called everything in the book because I'm on social media, and Buddhism don't exempt a lot of crap. Buddhism has corruption. Buddhism has this, has that. And I'm the face of Buddhism, one of the faces of Buddhism. And I'm just like, sure, why don't you call me a murderer? I killed somebody before. Go ahead, have at it. Go ahead, call the AG, Attorney General, find some evidence, plant some evidence. I'll sit in prison and meditate and still achieve enlightenment. We have to see the bigger picture. It's petty. A lot of things are petty and don't have to be so critical. Don't have to be so serious. Because it's not worth it. It's not worth the headaches that we're creating for one another. And it's just not. What's important is, I think, through the week, Sam I think the big picture is he wants you to work on yourself. And the more that he sees you not work on yourself and try to be there for your wife, he doesn't know how to deal with that. He doesn't know how to deal with it.
The only work I feel I need to do is to be there for him and to help her in some way with some kind of an intervention or something.
We're getting there.
She's got to just come to terms, and that's what we need to get her to realize, that what she's done and has become is not a good thing.
Correct. Right.
But as far as me, I'm pretty peaceful. The only thing that drives me crazy is him. He doesn't seem to care. It comes across as not caring, accusational.
Oh, I see.
In me.
Not caring about what?
Me? Your mother?
No, here. Okay, so the way how Sam comes off sometimes is really strong. When you're on the other side of Sam, it feels really strong. It can come off as judgmental. It can come as very prosecutorial, like a prosecutor. That's why I'm working on him. However, looking at the evidence, looking at the action versus the words, you see that he's here.
I do.
On a Saturday where we were supposed to go and have fun, because Saturday and Sundays when I reward my students for a long week of working, a long week of not committing crimes, a long week of studying.
There's something, I'm gonna just say one thing. Last night when you came to the house, I was glad that you come to the house, okay? You're always welcome to that house. For you to come through that door and not say anything, come into the room where you know we're at and say, hi, Mom, hi, Dad. But just to walk in, close the door, go in your room, and it's like we're not even there. We don't exist. That hurts.
That's because
That hurts me, man.
he's trying to condition you guys. The things that has happened before caused all of this is happening now.
He's been like that for a long time. Still that.
But I'm working with him. I'm working with him.
To me, that shows disrespect.
It does. I know it. I feel it too. I feel it too because the way how he carries himself. He went off on his own one time a couple days ago. Didn't tell me where he was going. He just does his own thing until I call him out and I'll be like, listen, hello? I get it. I totally get it. It takes a lot of time for me to recondition him. It does hurt because you're like, do we even exist? I understand where you're coming from. I totally understand where you're coming. I'm telling you, these kids.
You know, he said talks has changed, and I want to see it. But then I witnessed something like that. It's like
The other thing is, Sam, is that you got to try to be like a therapist. And a therapist, rarely do they do this. Because once you do this, the people was like 1 year out the careful use of use. You did that to me. You were angry. Strange how the ego already sets up walls and it just presses a button as soon as it hears the word you, all these walls come up. I mean, layers come up. That's why you have to spend more time listening when I do one-on-one sessions and counsel with people. Deep down in both hearts have to open up so big that and so careful and mindful of words that we use so that people don't feel attacked. And we redirect words by saying, do you remember the one time and how that made me feel? If we speak about the way how it made you feel versus you were wrong, you were wrong, you were wrong, it can do wonders in the work that we're doing here. You know, I think a tremendous amount of damage happened. Now, I don't want to ask you directly, but if you think back when you guys adopted him, you all have to ask yourself, because she's not here, so and she's in La La Land right now to even answer questions. So if you were to think back, how prepared you all were to be parents. I mean, I'm hearing the police coming back in the day, hearing arrests, hearing alcohol and anger. Those were just recipes for disasters to come. And then these are now the consequences as a direct result of that longevity of turmoil and in the midst of struggles. Whatever it was, like I said, y'all had struggles in your face. Y'all had bills in your face. Y'all trying to cope with what was happening amongst yourselves. That may be, and I'll take a guess, whatever happened in Colorado, whatever state, all of that compiled up in her mind, now leading her to just trying to numb the pain every day with alcohol.
Oh,
I was pretty prepared to be a parent when I adopted him.
You-
But in the interim of adopting him and actually getting him, I went through some pretty traumatic things. I broke my back, lost a $90,000 a year job. I couldn't get back because of that.
Mm.
So it kind of everything snowballed.
Mm.
But even after we got him, life was good. We had fun. We still had things. I mean,
And you're still walking.
I can
Imagine
walk.
being on a wheelchair.
I was supposed to be in a wheelchair. They
Yeah.
gave me an 86% chance of being in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, and I proved them wrong.
Mm.
Took me 3 years to heal. Took me almost a year to walk. When I first got him, I couldn't even hold on to him.
Mm.
I wasn't allowed to hold him because I couldn't pick this bottle of water up
Yeah.
without my hand opening involuntarily and dropping it.
Mm. Motor skills and
I had to learn
psychomotors.
everything all over.
Mm.
And I was a stay-at-home dad with him when he was little like that. So I made the best of it that I could with him.
You're right. And when you guys got him, he was how old?
8 months.
Hmm.
And we did struggle financially to recover for a long, long time.
Hmm.
It took me to recover from that.
So,
But right now we're in a good place.
good.
I can't change what happened in the past. I can't. But I can understand. And I've changed a lot since then. I don't drink. The day you didn't want me to drink, I didn't drink. I didn't drink for 12 years. Like I said, I just started having a beer every now and then. I probably haven't even had a beer in weeks now, but when I go have a beer, it's 2 beers and that's it. That's how I stop. I don't get shit-faced. I don't get angry like I used to. But when I'm right about something, I'm right, and that will trigger a little bit of anger in me. But I don't lash out to the extent where I'm gonna want to beat someone's ass. I'm more apt to just shut down and walk away
Hmm.
and dismiss.
And when you're right, you have evidence that you're right. Yes?
Yep.
Good. CBT will teach you that. And because you have to use science to back up.
Oh yeah, when
While
I'm
you're
right,
right.
I'm right.
We have to be really careful when we're right too. Is it right to us? Is it right to other people? Is it right to us? And is it right in the eyes of the jury?
All the above. And the arrest that he's talking about in Colorado that happened, that wasn't my fault.
Which I told you.
Which you
Last
did.
time.
You did say that. And I took that to jury and I won. And I wasn't allowed to have the same attorney because I had a good attorney out there who helped me with past things who I never met in person until this all took place.
Mm.
Who helped me get Samuel.
Mm.
And I never met until this all took place, the arrest again.
Mm.
I went to hire him and they would not allow us to have the same attorney. So I forfeited him and gave him to my wife.
Mm.
I took a public defender. And that public defender stood by me and believed in me because I was so adamant I was right.
Mm.
And I proved myself right in the end.
So back to what he observes when he observes you not working on yourself and you're paying attention to her, who is perceived to be lost cause.
I don't feel that way though.
Well, she didn't come here.
She was on her way here.
And what happened?
It was canceled out that day. You guys were in Sarasota or something.
It was not canceled. It was, we were looking to push the timing back.
She can't see at night, and she's got night blindness. She can't be here in the dark and have to drive home. She's not familiar with this area.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Would we say that she's starting to show early signs of what her father did? Because I am starting to see that.
What? Onset, the early onset?
Driving, forgetfulness.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
But no, she didn't cancel it. This was canceled out on her, she feels. And it kind of was. She had a time to be here. She was literally walking out the door when you called. Literally, she was had her keys and everything in her hand, ready to come.
And let me tell you, I called out of respect.
As you should have, yes.
As I do with everything in life, or I try to. We did not cancel. We simply needed to push the time back because we were at the DMV that you knew. Everybody knows how the DMV is.
Right, I didn't know what you were doing. I thought you were in Sarasota. You wouldn't be back in time.
I told you I was in Sarasota dealing with the case at the DMV. That's why we need to push it back. And not even that long.
Well, it's 4 o'clock at that point, 4:30. I know if you're in Sarasota at that time of day coming back here, that's
Yeah.
a long time. I drive that route every day, and it
So
takes a while.
so I went back to work. I was a full-time monk. Then I had to go back to work to keep my programs, keep this place, keep the light on in this place, contribute to this place, so we have a room to talk. People just take more and they don't give in America. I was supposed to retire. I've already contemplated my retirement a year ago as a Buddhist psychotherapist, because we don't have the funding to keep programs like this going. Trust me, there's hundreds of people that sit in that chair, in other chairs, and then they learn and then they quit and then they don't finish and they waste a lot of my time with hundreds and thousands of dollars having to pay the CEO here, and so on. So these were behind the scenes things. In order for this to work, this little 35-year-old monk had to go back to work, and sometimes I'm stuck in counties and we have to push things back and working with, the complexities.
She's even asked, when can I go back in and reschedule?
Sure.
And he said he'd let us know, and I haven't heard anything on that.
I was going to tell you today, since we're all here, you can ask him about that and get us the time.
Wait, so you pushed it back, but did you tell me that? Or
Yes.
I think I did heard you told me that
Yes.
she just canceled. Did you leave any information out?
No, I've been telling you that my dad has been telling me that she's been asking about rescheduling, and that my dad continues to ask me when we can get her in. But
Oh shit.
And I told you that I don't
Because
have
she
the
wants
energy.
to repair this as well, but the thing she doesn't understand, she needs to work on herself.
Oh.
She needs to understand. She needs an intervention, literally, but we don't even have enough people that can get an intervention together, because the people she hangs out with, which are very few, are the same as she is.
All right. Okay. So the Buddhist monk is now having signs of dementia. Obviously, if he's communicating this with me and I'm missing it. What needs to happen is that we gotta get you to be an effective husband and father, which is anger, ego, all these little things in a human. And at that point, you can approach her more skillfully. Husband and wife, anytime we're dealing with family, there's always that emotion that's already sitting there. And when we're dealing with them, we can't stay calm. Very difficult to stay calm. Very difficult to not use the word you in the midst of it. And very difficult, even more difficult for men to say, darling, you know how it makes me feel. And when they're drunk, they don't know how it makes them feel. You know what I'm saying? So we inspire other people by and through our own change. Obviously, if she's coming home and you're sitting in the middle of the living room like a Buddha meditating like this, hopefully she still has the wits to know what's happening. Why is Robert so quiet? He's been more quiet than usual. Why does Robert look like he's at peace? When he wakes up different, when he's moving different, everything will change. Everything that you think that is not changing, other people can see it on the outside.
I just feel like he's pushing for me to leave and not help. I can't.
Well, I don't know what's going on there. The kid's 21. The kid's 21. So the kid is going to say a lot of things, or again, his vision for the family unit is going to be quite unskilled at you. Right? Vision of a 21-year-old who is still schizophrenic, by the way. Right? Under 25.
I'm 55 and schizophrenic.
Right. So therefore, you need not to take it personal. You need to know how to redirect the information that you are receiving to understand what it is that he wants you to do, because he still wants you and him working out. This kid can disappear into thin air and no one can find him. It would take every single U.S. Marshal and air marshals trying to look for him and he will like live with the hogs 4 feet under the dirt and still can survive off the water on the cactus in the Sahara Desert, right? So see that what all that means or should mean to you is that he's trying to make an effort to get you to see a lot of things unfolding.
I am.
And I think, because I don't know the details of her, I think he's able to see the bigger picture. But regardless, I believe that if we work on you to get you less angry, more happy, more calm, more skillful, less defensive, and sometimes less right. Trust me on this one. Less right. I had to bite my, me and you very the same when it comes to that righteousness, you know. And there are many examples along the way that he sees I'm having to restrain myself. And mind you, I'm a monk that stands for social justice, like Reverend Al Sharpton. I'm not one that sits underneath a tree and kumbaya all day. If something deserves to be spoken up to, I will use every power afforded to me and speak up about it for the greater benefit of humanity.
Me too.
Right? But somewhere down the line, we do have to practice the Buddhist way, which is restrained to see the long-term effects. If we restrain now, what will happen long-term? And think very carefully before we exercise our decisions. We are gods. We are humans, but we are also gods. What does that mean? We have a lot of power. We can, again, you can pick up an AR-15 and, Second Amendment right and preach and pray about the Lord's gospel, and no one's going to stop you. And if they do, well, you got that opportunity, don't you, to squeeze. So all of us are gods, and we have to exercise our power as human gods carefully. I mean, and sometimes the righteousness things don't serve us too well, especially when it comes to family, especially when it comes to people around us. Strangers, oh yeah, all day. Police, all day. Government, all day. But when it comes to family, we have to readjust that judge inside of us.
I think I've changed a lot as a family person. I've over the years, I'm not as angry. I don't lose it as fast. I'm more apt to sit down and walk away and readdress it later.
So I'd like to know, were you able to read the CBT or the introduction of it this week and what it meant to
I
you?
finished the whole book this weekend. During the weekdays, I come home, man, I'm shot. I'm shot.
Oh.
I get up at 3:30 in the morning. I don't get home till 5, sometimes 6 o'clock at night.
Right.
I shower, I eat. I'm lucky if I can watch a half an hour TV show without falling asleep.
So the only time so the weekend is when you have off. I see. Has the book scared you?
No. Not at all.
So we'll give it time for you to review it. Obviously, if you're working to keep the bills, bills always in people's faces. And it's important for us to have this talk so that we readjust each other's temperaments and clarify. I think the word clarify is.
I'm sorry. I want to thank you for your call last night, apologizing to me after you left. I was happy that you did that.
Mindfulness of my own actions and when I am wrong and accepting that.
Well, I want to tell you I appreciated that. It meant a lot to me last night.
I figured it would. As I was dealing with mindless idiots at McDonald's that you heard.
Yes.
It's good for us to come on the weekends for an hour or two to clarify all of the emotions in 1 week, all of the communication that happens in 1 week. When 1 week, a lot of things can be misconstrued, misunderstood, broken hearts, headaches, and heartaches. And that's why we have to come and we have to clarify things. And once everything is cleared up and things become a little bit more stable, then it clears the way for meditation. So if I walked in today and I'm like, Robert, let's sit and meditate, you would have left with a lot of anxiety as you close your eyes and focus on your breath, because you wouldn't know where he's coming from. You wouldn't. It's left unsaid.
I
So
feel like he's given up on his mom. And that hurts me, dear. His mother loves him to the moon and the stars. She might not know how to show it or verbally show it or hear it, but that woman loves you, Sam.
So it takes time for an intelligent kid, thoughtful kid like this to be convinced of that fact. That's why we're moving per individual. We move towards the person who is sober, intelligent, and able. And then we will move down the line. And people change, and he's learning that with me. That it's not permanent. An alcoholic can change. A drug addict can change. A felon can change. It doesn't matter. People can change. You know, and eventually we will get past through it and we will see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to get the truth out of per individual where we're at with it after the work is done. But we're making progress now, and to try not to be attached on how he feels about what's going on at home. Again, he's 21-year-old, unskillful, and still have chemical changes in the brain. Literally like a bouncing rabbit in his head, and we're working with him with the resources that I have and the time that I have. But what's important is everyone just focus on themselves and don't need to compare and don't need to nitpick about other people. That's the best way to make progress. He's learning that. You're learning that now. You know, I know it hurts you because this is your wife, and I know that it hurts you. You're in the middle, right? You're in the middle of wife and son, and everybody's all over the place. His kid's not home. She's drunk. Shoot, I got bills in the midst of back pain. So therefore, it's complete chaos for you too. And I'm trying to bring it together. It's okay, Rob. Just I'm working with the kid. The kid's safe. He ain't committing crimes. Okay. And the wife, hopefully, she's cutting back or she's watching you change, and eventually she'll cut back. Hopefully, do your actions some changes.
This week, for some bizarre reason, I don't know why, but she was not shit faced every night. I don't know why.
So
she'd have her one drink, but her shots, because when she does shots, a fireball, it's instantly know it. And this week, she wasn't like that, and she's very argumentative when she drinks shots.
Has she been hanging out with Leslie at all this week?
Nope.
Mm.
Not one day. Not
So-
one single day.
Mm.
I don't know if that contributed. I don't know. I didn't even think of that, but
doesn't matter at this point. And even if the attorney general sat there and told me this, I still wouldn't believe it. We let some time go by. If it is in fact and true, we let some time go by. Again, action will speak louder than words, and we're all trying the best we can. And if she's that's good, her liver is recovering, the body and the cells are recovering. If these reports are accurate and true, thank the Lord Jesus. Thank everybody up there chilling, because we need that to happen. We need people to be sober so that I can work on them.
I want her to be sober. I wish she would. I told her, I don't mind your 1 or 2 drinks you have at night, your mixers. But it's the shots, you gotta do away. You can't do that.
This is a murder case. I have to take this.
Is this a wrap for today or no?
In like 2 seconds. I just want to. Hello.
I got a vet appointment for Blue today, so
Hello.
2 o'clock.
Why would they call that line? What line did they call?
Give me 1 second. I have my report.
The other line.
I do appreciate your time spent here.
Oh yeah, it's no problem at all. I hello, Jay. Oh,
So, but yeah, that's it.
Dạ có.
Yeah, okay. I just want to quite back.
Cái đó phải coi cái hợp đồng á, cái lease á. Rồi xuống văn phòng giải thích chút xíu, tại vì nó có nhiều cái trường hợp trong đó lắm. Ví dụ hiện tại bây giờ đang lo một cái hồ sơ mà cái người này họ bán 2 bên tiệm, rồi xong rồi theo cái hợp đồng của cái nơi như là public gì đó, nó dựa vào cái đó đó. Nhưng mà thực tế là khi mà cái nhà hả? Hay là cái tiệm? Ừ. Dạ, nếu như nó đơn giản thì 500. Yeah. Không biết, cái đó phải cầm giấy tờ xuống hợp mặt rồi mình lấy thêm chi tiết rồi mới biết thêm được. Lần nếu như nó đơn giản thì 500. Dạ. Dạ. Crazy. Okay. So I think everyone knows what's happening here, right? About what's going on, right? And he's making tremendous amount of progress from when whenever he left the house months ago and
Years ago.
So I'm measuring progress along the way. I'm keeping a lot of process notes and progress notes so that we see him flourish. And we're already talking about putting him back into college with a major in psychology and a minor in business. I felt, and I've taught my students, if you haven't figured it out or you figured it out, learn. We're gonna need people to survive, no matter how much you hate people. Just pretend like you hate people. Right. You got to get psychology down, because you need to understand how they think and feel, and skillfully negotiate, skillfully maneuver to understand humans, to facilitate transactions. And then the other thing is, everything in America is a business, so you need to learn how to manage your own money, get your stuff in order, manage your own business. If you want to work for yourself or you work for other people, you need to understand systemic change and systems theory. So he might veer towards that. I think that is one of the wisest things that I could advise my young students who are thinking about going back to college. So we're making progress. I think all of us adults can see these kids go to college, study the right thing, and not change majors 20 times with $500,000 in student debts. So, he's making progress. And my hope for you is to pay real close attention to the cognitive behavior therapy book. Show up here 2 hours on a Saturday, and hopefully show up tomorrow 9 a.m. for the Sunday service, where you learn about Buddhism and merge the two together. All of this is good medicine for you. It is literally like me putting an IV in you, downloading. And
I'll be here tomorrow.
Right. It's good nurturing for the heart. It's nurturing, and it's calming. And if she's quitting or slowly cutting back, is because of the calmness that you feel, and it's the calmness that you're rethinking. Everything that, if you are changing and not even know it, or if you are changing and you know it, then they can feel it.
My household has been calm this week. Beyond recognition, it's weird.
Slept good?
Huh?
Slept good? I know you said you slept good that one
I
night.
slept like a rock every day this week, man. I didn't want to get up this morning. You know me. I'm usually up. I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning because my body just tells me to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
I took Blue out, side for a little while, came back in, and I was out till your mother's alarm went up at 8:30. 3 days this week, I felt like crap. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. 3 days in a row.
One very good thing that I've learned about you is that you are able to listen to your body, and you let your body die when it wants to die, which is something that I don't even let do. I fight my body to the day that it'll kill me. It's one very good trait that I've learned about you.
And thank God I jumped in at the right time, because he was working himself to death when I first came into his life. And it took a lot of, I couldn't tell you half the millions of words that come out of my mouth and throat. and he got the point and he readjusted he was waiting for kidney failure, kidney, liver, you name it, everything, all systems failure, just the way how he was working.
You,
And
you
I was
gotta let your
watching.
body rest now.
Yeah.
You gotta let your brain rest.
And I've been doing that since I was 15.
You know,
I was saying to myself, how does this kid do it, man? I'm leaving to go to work. You're coming in and then you're getting up to go back to work. It's like, me personally, I couldn't do that.
And I'd like to just bring some realization to you saying that I have lots of extra time on my hands. I don't. At all. That's why I'm hard on you. That's why it ticks me off a little bit when you say, oh, well, like when last night when I got mad. The reason that I got mad was because, you know, I know and can see your potential. I know what you can do. I know what you've done and how quickly you've done it. That's what rubs me the wrong way. Kind of like you looking at me back in school and seeing my potential and what I can do, where I can be, where I can go, and how quickly that can be achieved. That's why it rubs me the wrong way a little bit sometimes. And the only reason that I was backtracking as much as I was backtracking today was because you asked to learn more about me.
And I do want to know what you said.
Karasoke
I appreciate you sharing.
So I could see with your body language and everything else that it was making you angry, and that was not my end goal. My end goal is I'm giving you everything that you've been asking for because you've been coming here. Because if I didn't care, okay, let's look at the facts here. If I didn't care about you and mom, why would I be doing any of this? Why would I even
know.
brought it up?
I understand that.
I think you can affirm this. I give people in this point in time very little time. I've cut a lot of people off. Respectfully, telling them, look, I'm leaving for a bit, but I'll be back. And like I told you with Hillary, they can't respect that, then no, I won't be back. And I'll move on with my life the way that I know that I need to survive.
She did interrupt my day a couple days ago, but I stopped and spent my time with her. She's the only family member I've got, Sam, that speaks to me.
And that's fine. But again, like I said you you haven't filled her in on anything.
Yes.
No. I haven't shared any of it with her. I don't feel it's any of her.
Oh, you're good.
I just don't feel it's any of her concern at this point.
What, you feel like she wouldn't care?
No, not that. No, I don't think. Not that she wouldn't care, but I don't need to hear her input right now with her knowing nothing about what's going on. Because she's a psychologist major. She's got a master's degree.
And we see how well
I
her
don't
life
want to
is
hear
going,
her
huh?
input without knowing the facts of everything. Because she's good at jumping in like that. And I don't need to hear that.
I've seen that and identified that with her being around her in the years.
Yeah, because she's got a master's
So
degree. in
no,
psychology.
and I didn't know that. And so then why is she a masseuse? You know, obviously she didn't use it very well.
She did. She worked with the state. She worked with the police department. She's done a lot of different things.
Who's this?
Your
Your
sister.
Oh.
She does masseuse because at that point in time, that's what brought her peace.
How's she important in this conversation again?
Because she interrupted my day a couple of days ago. I
Oh.
haven't seen her in a few. And she's my only family member I have that speaks to me.
Oh.
So then do what you need to.
And I gave her my time.
Oh.
And I didn't fill her in on anything that's going on because I didn't want to hear her input because she's a psychologist major. She's got a master's degree. And she used to work with the Justice Department, the state, the counties, all over the place. And he asked why is she a masseuse then? I said, because that's what brought her peace at the time.
Well, two things they teach us in psychotherapy school. Number one, don't do therapy on your friends, and number two, don't do therapy on your family members. So therefore, don't seek. Yeah, it's that's I mean, if you know,
hear her input.
Okay.
It's not going to be helpful. You know what I mean?
No.
So
Because she's not hearing all the facts. You know what I mean? She just knows what she's seen and heard. And,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I didn't concern her with any of that.
Well, I didn't know, and thanks for sharing that. And I didn't know any of that. So but do what you need to do. You best. So do what you need to do to survive. But again,
I'm pretty at peace, Sam, except for not having you a bigger part of my life and being more kind to us. And basically, your mother's drinking. Besides that, I love your mother and we get along. This week was a very, very peaceful week.
Mm.
Very peaceful week.
odd, right?
Hmm?
You said odd, right? Almost can't figure out why.
It was weird. Yeah, it was weird.
It's kind of like the oddness of my car just mysteriously stopping misfiring with doing nothing
Really, it's running right now. You didn't change your
for
coil?
once.
You got your tire rods on?
No, not yet. I don't have the money.
I gave you the money.
Labor.
I thought you were doing
And I had
that so
to,
good.
and I had to.
You got your parts all right?
I'm going to pick those up probably this week when I get paid because I had to use that money to survive.
Okay.
But it went to good causes, not stupid stuff.
Okay.
So that you know. But I need to pick those up, and I found my time belt kit again, but I just don't have the money or the ability to take time off in order to pay my master tech to do it.
I hear that.
That's why I said I need help.
Well, I figured out my finances, and at the end, after all my bills, because all my bills just went up, every one of them. Plus, I pay that lawyer's fee every month. I'm left with very slim amount of money at the end of every month.
Okay, so it sounds like I'm gonna have to start working
So I
a
don't-
bit more again.
I invested a lot of our money, and it rolls over. I don't get my dividend checks. It all automatically rolls back in until I quit work or can't work, and then it will be sent to my house. But until that day, it's just rolled back in. So at the end of the month, like I said, I got a very small margin of money that's left over, and God forbid my car breaks.
So you're not gonna be able to help me.
I'm not going to be able to help you financially.
That's fine. I already accepted that fact, and I already anticipated that fact. But you don't know.
So I
if
went
you
to the
have-
bank and talked to Tony. Talked to him about what's going where, and when it does, because everything I get is taken out through my bank. That's why all my shit's paid. That's why my power's not turned off anymore, because I'm not relying on your mother to remember the water bill's due. And not remembering that it's due until you come home and turn the faucet on and there's no water. Actually, that happened this week, and it wasn't any fault of anybody's. The county got a wrong work order this week. They had the wrong address. I came home from work, seeing our shit was dug up. Came in to take a shower, no water.
But it's okay. Sam's
So I
learned.
called them, and they said, we had the wrong address. Sorry, we'll be out there. So at 9 o'clock at night, they came out and fixed the backflow preventer that they dug up that day prior. And I was pissed about that. I was pissed. You know what I mean?
So
I didn't call a work order in for you guys to touch anything here.
it's all right. Even if it came down to using the city bus, it would be a good thing too. There's a lesson in every single one of them. There's a lesson when life takes a crap. There's a lesson in every single one of them. This is part of adulting anyways for these young students to be independent, learn how to manage their own money. You know, when things go wrong in their life, they change hair color. Guys, we spend exuberant on whatever expensive toys or expensive things. So this is why learning how to manage one's money, managing one's emotion, managing one's time, and managing one's mind. People are like, time management. No, mind management. Then the time thing will fall into place. So is money. So, Sam's also part of my training is also looking at your finance, looking at the blueprint of your finance. How many credit cards do you have? What are the minimum total? How much coming in? How much is going out to these guys? And how much is left for saving for a rainy day? Thank goodness the Buddha gave us teachings on managing money. So that's
Something they don't teach in school.
Correct.
I think it's very important. It's never been in your education. That no one teaches you about money.
That's okay. That's why Buddhism asserts that we are, the most comprehensive and effective teaching the world has ever seen. So he's learning step by step. So we're making progress. At the end of the day, even if you had to take the city bus, learn to take the city bus.
Oh, I had to walk for a very long time.
just like us monks do. So, I the first two years when I became a monk, I walked with an umbrella. And I was like, I like this. You know what I mean? Get my exercise, live longer, less health problems, don't get fat. So in America, everything is so convenient for us that we bitch, moan, and cry about everything. No AC. I don't have a car. My car has 3 wheels, and we put you guys in third world countries. No one can survive. It's like we gotta walk. What? What do you mean I have to walk?
Not even a third world country. Throw us in a forest.
Mm.
I'm ready to go live in the woods, man. I don't give a shit about nothing, nothing anymore. Take my car, take my house. I don't need any of it. My tent, I can live at a state park, man. I go live at a state park, go down Fort DeSoto, pitch my tent, and pay my fee for a lot right for a month. I'm not kidding you. Go use the freaking little shower where you pull the cord. It's heated with the sun.
Simple.
Yeah, simple. I could live like that for the rest of my days if I didn't have obligations.
So let us reconvene tomorrow at 9 in the morning. And I think we're making progress here. And, this is good for the mind to absorb, rest, and reflect on. It would be wise to go home and write about what happened today so that you can measure your own progress. And I see how much you've come a long way 6 months from now and look back and realize, wow, this is how
Get
it.
your mom in here because she wants to be involved in this so badly, and she talks to me. She asks me almost every day.
Tomorrow? Can she come tomorrow? Sunday service doesn't include counseling. Sunday service is everybody's a student, I'm the teacher, and they just sit there and just
Then let's leave
learn.
her out of it then tomorrow.
Huh?
Let's leave her out of it then tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I don't need her there because I also am bringing somebody that I haven't seen in a long time, which is Gabriel.
Mm.
He will
Really?
be tomorrow.
He's coming tomorrow?
Something for you to look forward to as well as me.
Good for him.
Mm.
I'm glad you reconnected with Gabriel.
It took a long time. I had to be absent for a very long time. I
know.
also spoke with I had no contact info for any of them because it's not relevant. But I did end up getting back in contact, and he actually was texting me yesterday.
Good.
He'll,
He's out of the dark.
Andrea,
Working his way out of
I'm
the dark.
not sure yet. I haven't seen or heard from him or talked to him in probably over a year, almost 2. So that tomorrow will be the baseline. I also invited him with us to get lunch because we would go to lunch after. So, he said he's got a little bit of money because he's always been quite good at saving money. So even though he hasn't been working for years.
What?
Yeah. He went down into a very dark place. When the last time that I
know.
saw or spoke to him was when I showed up at his dad's door, and he almost didn't come out.
I remember. I know.
So I just
I
got
don't
in
know what
contact
happened
with
with
him, and I was speaking with his sister Andrea, and she's actually also interested in Buddhism, but she's apparently got a fever or something. She just got back from London, but she will be driving him down here tomorrow, picking him up, and she is also interested in Buddhism. And I guess he saw the video of me shaking my head, sparked a wheel in him, got his wheel turning. And when she told me that, time was right. So he'll be here tomorrow.
Okay. Good to see Gabriel.
Awesome. So we'll see everyone here tomorrow. I look forward to meeting him too. I have no idea who he is.
Good. He's a good kid.
I heard.
His dad beats himself up a lot.
Mm.
You should. Actually, I'll save you from the text that he texted me
Who, his
and
father?
the traumas that he is still inflicting on them.
Who his father is?
Mm-hmm. Zoe.
Zell's a weird character, man.
And Gabe has already identified in Zoe that he's got some screws loose and some mental problems. So,
Always felt bad for Gabriel.
me as well. And apparently, he's always looked up to me, which I didn't know.
Yeah, he is. We've always tried to have him be at our house as much as we could because we knew his home life was.
You know what's funny is that you remember how you said, you assembled a team back when you were young?
Mm.
There was a group. You remember the group in our old neighborhood, our first neighborhood here?
Mhm.
Since the first day he met me, if you remember Caleb was the one who introduced me to him.
I don't know.
Caleb, you remember I was climbing our tree that ended up almost killing Ben?
Yeah.
Caleb didn't want to. Gabe jumped right up in the tree. He followed right behind me. He followed everything that I did.
You know, else is in dark places. What's his name? Ben.
He's been in dark place since that day.
Really?
Since that day. But he's even in more of a weird spot because he's not closing off. He'll answer your calls. He'll talk to you. But he won't come home. He won't do anything. But he'll still speak with you.
That's weird.
Because I called him when I started hanging out again with Michael and talking with Michael, which is another lost cause. But besides the point, I actually called Ben, and he actually picked up the call and spoke with me. So he's in even more of a weird place because Gabe just shut down completely for a while. You know, self-isolation, which is typical with severe depression from what I've read.
Got one of these.
But yeah, so we'll see you tomorrow.
All right.